Okay, I'm just gonna talk because that makes drawing lessons far easier. Um, yeah. So, I guess I should probably just start with like basic anatomy stuff for drawing. I guess I don't know. I've never done freaking tutorials. Uh, Sometimes it helps to like. So my art teacher taught me this actually recently. And sometimes it helps to draw like base lines so you can like sort of judge the height of the character. So like this would be the top and like where the feet would land. Uh, Typically it's kind of hard for me to judge though just by making some lines, but whatever. So I guess I'll just start with the face and then I'll work to larger stuff because faces are easy. I really just started with like head and shoulders anyways. So yeah, that's what I still draw most of the time. Um, but yeah, I'll just start with like head sort of basics. So usually you'll start with like a circle, obviously, as most artists do, with like really anything. Uh, Really, you'll just ignore the music playing in the background. It helps with my inspiration stuff. Yeah. Okay, so you know what? I'll take a video. I'll take a recording of this because I can do that, and it's gonna sound cringy, but whatever. I don't care. Crap. This is gonna sound really bad. This audio is going to sound wonderful, and God, I'm gonna cringe when I. Mm, yes, I will. When I listen to this in the morning, hang on. Just live audience. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so circle clearly. Then normally I'll start making guidelines for really the vertical up and down going guidelines. That's sort of to judge which way the character's head is facing, and most of the time the rest of the character. So right now, this would just be like a straightforward shot of the character. And then for the chin, you're just going to make a sort of V/U sort of shape. Um, Sort of shape for the head, for like the chin and cheeks and yeah, all that wonderful stuff. Uh, Jesus. Then you're gonna make a wonderful line right through the center. This is where the eyes will be, or this is where the eyes will rest. The eyes are pretty much always going to be right in, almost in like the center of the head, maybe just barely higher. And sometimes my sketches are not clean, Theo. These are not clean. This is not clean. Anyways, um, you're gonna have some circles where the eyes will typically be placed. Most of the time, if you're drawing realistically, your eyes are going. I believe it's like the rule is like they'll if your eyes are sized correctly, then you'll be able to fit like either I think it's like 5 across the width of the face. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna test that out. And eventually, once you like start to develop like style for this, it's you can make the eyes bigger, like how I normally do mine. You can make them bigger without like making it look like really messed up. But really, it helps to start drawing realistically so that you get the proportions correct, which is why looking at anatomy and like references helps a lot, especially for poses. I have no idea how many times I've actually looked at drawing references for poses. It's ridiculous. Anyways, I am rambling now. So the eyes are going to be a sort of almondy shape. Yeah, almondy. That's right. And Jesus, I am not good at tutorials. This is weird. I'm gonna sound awkward. Okay, I need to stop talking to myself / you. But okay, so then this is basically how I normally make my eyes. So yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much how it works. I'm not used to drawing realistically. My style is so much easier than this. So for the irises, they're always, most of the time, unless like you have a certain style choice. Most of the time, unless like your character is surprised and their eyes widen, most of the time you're not going to see the entire iris. And then the pupil is typically going to be fairly large. And depending on it depends on the light and like you'd be surprised how much like the pupil also helps with like expression. So yeah. And then the nose, I have so much problem with noses. But the nose is going to fall right about at this sort of almost, you can really split the face up into 4 different sections. So this is sort of around like a theoretical hairline? I don't know. Just a place where a hairline could start. But I'm not going to talk about hair right now. So the nose will typically fall a little ways under the eyes at this sort of third marker. And then one way you could draw the nose from this angle, normally I just make like a little line sort of like this because that's easy. I don't know. It doesn't really make much sense, but whatever. Normally your nose is going to be something sort of like this, where basically it's kind of like a 2 little hooks or C's, really, really stretched out C's. I guess? I don't know. And then the mouth is going to fall right around here. That's a mouth. Mouth. There you go. This isn't scripted at all. And then, I'm sorry, very little of this probably makes sense, but I'm trying for you, I'm sorry. Eyebrows, definitely need those. Never forget eyebrows, or else it's gonna look really wonky. The human is going to look very wonky, and just not right in general. It's really weird when you don't see something with eyebrows because it actually messes you up quite a bit. So, in regards to hair is very fun when you finally figure out how to draw it. So something that helps me is there's typically a point where the hair sort of comes out of on the head, which is usually called like a part. So typically the part is where most of the hair grows out of, and then it'll grow out. So what I like to do is either make like a line or make a little dot in the place where the hair grows out of. So this person's hair might grow out of like right here. So basically, once I decide where this point is, where the hair grows out, the hair will always start from here and then grow outwards. on each side. Sort of like this. And then the part will sort of follow after that dot. I'm not gonna listen to Heather's right now. Or that. Or that. Give me freaking 21 Pilots right now. Please. No. Go away. Stop it. I'm talking about my phone. Yeah. Hair can be a bit of a struggle, honestly. So yeah. Um, a lot of times, hair is definitely where like line width might come in handy, especially if it's sort of like curly, because sometimes like thicker lines make it more defined. I've never really been very good with line width, but I think I'm getting a little better at least. Um, and so I'm not very good with making up different hairstyles, to be perfectly honest. I wish I was better. However, I'm not yet. So yeah, that's I guess like a realism type of tutorial. Thank you. That is my new title or nickname, I guess. Happy, the famous human artist. Aha! I will teach you the ways of human arts. That makes sense. Now, I'm gonna talk about poses, I guess, and I'm gonna use my style. Screw the rest of human anatomy. Just kidding. Don't do that. If you completely ignore anatomy, something is going to look wrong. I promise you. Uh, but you knew that. You're a professional artist, Theo. Um, but yes, make sure to look up anatomy because I swear to you, it helps so much. And a lot of this I actually learned from just watching other YouTubers tutorials and yes, you were. From watching other YouTubers tutorials and just practicing. I know it's annoying to hear over and over again, but trust me, it helps. So, um, so something that helps for poses that I was talking about earlier is like this sort of trick that I learned from another artist, from watching artist a tutorial, er, another tutorial, another artist made. It's I can't talk. I'm sorry. Um, basically you start with this sort of flower bag kind of shape in or hourglass, whatever you want to call it. And basically this represents the chest and stomach and just the torso in general. And then you're gonna have these sort of like curved triangles for limbs. And really what this helps is just it really helps for making really loose poses without having to worry too much about anatomy. And yes, sack, be quiet. And it's a flour sack. And so basically, it helps you to really. It just helps being able to make like really nice poses without having to worry about too much about anatomy. And it's kind of fun to just use this sort of trick. I've actually filled up like 2 whole pages of a sketchbook with these things, just like sort of practicing certain tricks because it kind of helps. And so like Really, um, if you just started sketching without using this trick, it may be a little harder because you're constantly worrying about whether or not the anatomy is correct, and your pose may end up being a little stiff, which a lot of my poses still are, just because I'm not very good at poses yet. Um, but I'm trying to work on it. And typically with my uh with like even just my own drawings, I'll still have like the flower-y bag sort of shape as my torso just because it's pretty easy to work with. Um so yeah. Yes, I would like to delete that layer. Um yeah. Is there anything else? Oh, clothing. Clothing is fun. Oh my goodness. I'm not good at making diverse clothing. It's a problem that I have, and I think it just, I need to work on maybe just like sort of looking up different styles of clothing other than the stuff that I normally wear. Clothing is very difficult because it has folds and they're. Oh, okay. Well, anyways, I feel like rambling. I'll teach you anyways. For anyone who may be silently watching, hang on. I haven't looked at who's viewing this or not. I'm pretty sure it might just be you, Theo, but who cares? Uh, well, so the challenging thing with clothing is, first of all, there are many different styles. Secondly, there's lots of different textures for different fabrics. There's like denim and cotton and wool and all that fun stuff. So, um, this is another trick I actually learned from a art camp I went to, where oh okay, um, where basically what we did is we made this cylinder, and we made a sort of cylinder shape, and then we sort of made another little shape right here, and basically what we did is we drew it sort of wrapped around this cylinder, and what it did, it was like it, I guess it kind of just sort of helped um uh what is it, like, I guess figure out how um the fabric sort of worked with like sort of wrapping around like an actual form. uh and yeah, I mean it was kind of helpful actually. I really like that camp and I may go back. But yeah, I find denim a pretty easy fabric to work with because the folds are pretty easy to predict where they are because since denim tends to be a more heavy fabric, it doesn't seem to have quite as many folds as like cotton might, or something more like form fitting, I guess. Um Sort of like an not really elastic, but like yoga pants type of fabric. Just because like it wraps closer to someone's form than like denim does because it's heavier. Um, and another trick that we learned was I never wear denim, so I've never. Yeah, um, that's my problem. Is that I tend to pick clothes that for my characters that I tend to wear, and I need to stop doing that because they all look the same. Like everyone wears a hoodie and t-shirt and jeans, and that's it. I think one of my more different characters is probably Summer, just because like I once drew her wearing like I think it was like a crop top type of thing and like kind of short shorts or just shorts. Yeah, shorts in general. I don't like shorts. Well, I mean they're fine, but I need to stop talking about shorts. I'm sorry, but yeah, that's probably my one of my more different characters in regards to clothing. Otherwise, a lot of them really look just very the same, and I need to stop doing that because yeah, everyone seems to be falling into the same category. Um, I need better character development. Anyways, uh, I have to stop saying anyways, and those are problems with speech I have because I did not skip this and I'm not reading off of anything. Whew, okay. Anyways, back to clothing. Okay, so a sort of like a trick I learned for things that like sort of like drapery, like curtains, and maybe just like curtains, or like a dress is for the bottom of it. Sometimes it's hard to get that sort of like drapey kind of look. But what I learned in one of my art classes, so a trick I learned is so basically you start with this sort of wave kind of shape. Sort of like how you draw like kindergarten waves like this, except you make it more. You start out with an S, like a really in italicized italic S, and then you sort of continue that and get smaller with it until you reach whatever length you want it to be. And then you sort of do the same sort of thing with the hair where you make a dot and then you sort of follow through that dot and connect it to the corners the um of the squiggle that you sort of made. And what you do is you sort of make it go down with from the dot and you make it fall down with it. Then you connect it. Then you also add some more little marks here, right under the other lines. I'm not good at explaining. Hopefully you can just learn from watching this, but um, and basically this is sort of the underside of the dressy fabric sort of thing, and then you just sort of do that, and really it has this really nice drapey kind of effect to it, to the look, and it makes it far easier to draw like a dress or curtains from a certain angle, like if it was like blowing up in the wind or something like that. I need water. uh, anyways, and then another way to draw it from like the front. Say you're looking at it from the front or from a sort of above head kind of view. You might want to do something sort of like this. It's just a very mild squiggle type of thing. And then you make like very small and somewhat light marks with your pen. And it still looks kind of like a skirt slash dress. Yeah, there we go. It's very nice. A plus learning with happy. I'm not a good teacher, I'm sorry. Is there anything in particular you want me to teach you about? Like something else other than me rambling about random stuff? Like poses or I mean, I already talked about that, but anatomy, shoes. Okay, I can do shoes. Actually, I'm kind of an expert on shoes because I teach my one of my art teachers. He taught me a very clever trick. It involves shapes. He likes to work with shapes, and I like to work with shapes, so it works. So basically, what you start out with, well, I mean, I guess I could start with anything, but basically, what you do is you make a triangle. This is for the toe of the shoe, and then you have a rectangle right here for the sort of the middle of the shoe, and then you're going to have a sort of trapezoid-ish shape for the heel. And then you're gonna have another, and then you're gonna have a square sort of shape. Well, not that big, but I don't quite remember how this works. Hang on. I'm trying to remember how we did this. It would help a lot if I had my old sketchbook. Hang on, this may take me a minute. But basically, sort of do. I don't feel like listening to those. That's good. Okay. And then I guess really you could just sort of do like a larger square, and that would be fine. And then you start to sort of flesh. Hang on. That doesn't look right. Hang on. Let me just transform this. Well, I think. Oh, okay. I see what I did. Normally you would make these closer in size. I'm pretty sure. Another thing you can add is another little sort of. Hang on, let me just make these slightly closer in size. So it's more scaled. Okay. And sometimes you might add a little upward sort of tip for, because sometimes in tennis shoes, the toe will actually move up, will actually go, sort of be upwards more. And basically what you do is you sort of just hands and bare feet. Okay, I can do that. And basically you sort of make this sort of U, very shallow U kind of curve. Oh crap. There we go. Okay. Yes, I can do hands and bare feet. So very shallow U kind of shape. And just sort of start to flesh everything out gradually. Sorry, this is gonna be a moment of silence because I'm trying to focus. Okay, there we go. And just sort of like rounding out the top of the shoe, and then you erase your shapes, of course. Another thing you add is this lovely tread, the lovely tread that is there on the undersides of shoes. Then you can add sort of like the tongue of the shoe. Then you add like whatever else you want to add. And this trick really does actually work for pretty much all shoe types. Sometimes you do have to add different shapes in order to match the shoe. In order to match the shoe and like sort of squish different shapes, but really these shapes can work for pretty much any type of shoe. So yeah, that's how you draw shoes. Yes, it works for high heels, my friend. It even works for high heels. Just watch and learn while I do this in silence. Just gotta add a little thing there. And then add this sort of shape, I think. Yeah, that's perfect. This is 100% accurate. Shh. I don't know how to draw high heels in this style. I think I miss it. I remember there was like a trapezoid somewhere, and I just can't remember where it fit. Um, I just can't remember where it fit, and it made this look far more accurate than the way I'm drawing it. But yeah, it really does work for all of them, but I'm missing a shape, so it might look a little weird if you try it the way I try it. But yeah, um, like the way I just did it. I'll be right back. I need some water desperately because my throat is killing it. Well, not really killing me, but just dying. So yeah. Okay, I am back and my throat feels much better. I can talk clearer now without my voice scratching against my voice box, I guess. I don't know. I'm tired. This is. You're not tired, but just, it's the. It's that time of night where I just can't talk. Yes, that is a good thing. It's not them being weird. Uh, so yeah, hands and bare feet. Hands, one of the more difficult things to draw on a human, and it sucks. Trust me, I know. But something that does help is guide shapes, guidelines, I don't know whatever you want to call it. So oh, a wheelchair, that's fun. Haha. As my art teachers say, make sure to break it up into shapes. We're actually working on a project right now. It's like a realism sort of thing. And well, we're turning realism into like an abstract sort of drawing. And we were practicing drawing like a realistic. We picked something, and then we picked an item of some kind, and then we drew it realistically, and then we're gonna turn to an abstract painting. I picked a skull because I feel like it. Ooh, a graffiti project. That's fun. And basically, my art teacher, he told us to break it up into shapes, and at first I had problems with that, but then I realized that it helped a lot. Because normally I start off with like just a circle, and then a lot of the time I don't use much else that's like in regards to actual shapes. So yeah. But it actually helped a lot. Where basically what I did was I made a circle, and then I sort of did like a that's not right. Hang on. A trapezoidy sort of shape, and then another large rectangle here, then like some circles on the sides because it's a cow skull, and then like move that. Hang on. This this looks really weird because I don't have a reference or anything. Um, I've been drawing from reference all week, and I'm somewhat proud of myself for that. It's actually pretty fun, really. Actually, drawing realistically, it's a nice challenge, to be perfectly honest. Because normally I don't draw like that, and it's kind of refreshing to do something like that. But I don't think I'll ever want to draw humans realistically because that's really hard. And yeah. But anyways, I'm gonna continue drawing hands. So basically, a trick I tend to use for drawing hands is where basically what I will do is I will make a sort of box or a square, whatever you want to call it. What I'll do is I will make a square, then I'll start to sort of round it off and make one side higher than the other, slightly higher than the other. And basically, what this is it's sort of like the palm area of your hand. And actually, if all of your fingers were were evenly placed on your hand, um, they would all be the same length. Um, so that's sort of like a trick I want to share, I guess. And so your thumb is actually farther down than you might think, or at least than I thought when I first started drawing it. It's actually sort of like in the very corner of your palm, and that's how you can hold your wonderful cup of anything, whether it be your coffee or your lemonade or your water, in my case. So, yeah, this is your thumb. The start of your thumb is a lot thicker than the rest of your fingers because obviously your thumb is thicker than the rest of your fingers. And so something that helps if you're drawing your hand from the front of it, or like the underside, I guess. Something that might help is basically where I'm just gonna do like a really quick sketch. Something that might help sort of tell that it's the underside of your hand is if you make this line right here. This sort of shows where your thumb starts, and sometimes I'll even add this little arch line that curves right under where your fingers, where your like your pointer, ring, middle, pinky finger will be. And really, this just sort of helps sort of tell that it is in fact the underside of your hand. Hang on, let me just erase this really quickly. This erase is slow. Hang on, let me just okay. So now continuing. Here is your thumb. It is in the corner of your hand. Okay. Then something that also helps is when you draw the knuckles of your hand, sort of like just under the top line of this curved square. And this helps because I think it really just sort of helps tell you where to start drawing your fingers. And it also helps keeping them sort of like evenly widthed. I don't know, whatever. Keeping it the same width, almost completely throughout. Now, while this technically isn't true, it's better than just making it like this. And really, you can sort of edit once you're done. Now, normally I don't really draw hands like this, and here, I'll get to what I was saying in a second. But, okay, so something that helps me a lot when I'm drawing is if, normally I'll start with my pointer finger. So I guess right now I'm technically making an L, and I'm calling myself a loser. My computer is calling me a loser, that's rude. Look at this wonderful loser. I am a loser. That's sad. Stop being mean, computer. It is that time of night where I do not know what I'm saying. I am so sorry. Whew, okay. So, I probably should make this finger slightly smaller. So something that helps when you're drawing your hand is just looking at your own hand for poses. Normally I'll just draw my left hand, but sometimes you just can't get the right angle for what you're drawing, or you can't get the right pose, and that is when you need to use a hand reference, and those definitely help just as much as pose references do, or really any reference for the most part. But yeah. So here is your pointer finger right here. Here. Yes, here. Okay. So your pointer finger isn't technically going to be your longest finger. That is going to be your middle finger, which is right here, of course. And it's going to be about a fingernail size taller than your other finger, or at least it seems taller, even though technically it isn't. And I actually didn't draw this shape quite, this box shape quite correctly. Because typically the higher arch would be here, like closer to where the middle finger is, and then it would sort of level out very slightly where the pointer finger is, and I didn't quite draw that quite correctly, but you can do that yourself. Draw it correctly, children. Draw it correctly. Oh goodness, I need water again. My voice is on the edge. Okay. So what you'll do is you will just sort of make this slightly taller than your other finger. And I guess I sort of just realized this, but sometimes, this height will be almost sort of, that's fine. Yeah, it's totally fine. References help. And so basically what, I guess I sort of just realized, but sometimes the width of another finger is the same height. It's like sort of like the height difference between another finger. So if you'll just look at what I'm doing, because I don't know how to explain really. But basically, if I just turn this over, it's kind of the same width as the difference in height is the same width as the other finger. Now, this definitely isn't always going to be true. It's just something I kind of just noticed now, and really, it only applies to, really, it isn't actually realistic, I don't think. Normally there is a slightly bigger height difference in that, or slightly smaller height difference in that. However, in this case, it is, strangely enough, the same height, I guess. Whatever, I don't know. But yeah, there is the middle finger. So now I'm going to move on to the ring finger, and really it just goes pretty much the same as the other two, or really three. Make sure it is, in fact, shorter than the ring finger. Really, it looks really weird if you have all of the fingers as, like, really similar in height. Like if you have it like this, and they're all the same height, it's weird. It's kind of weird. I know there are styles that do have it like that, and like, I don't mean to be hateful or anything, but I mean technically it is realistic. But then again, I don't know what to say about that. I don't know. I'm not gonna hate, but technically that isn't correct. But you know what? That's your style. That's your choice. I don't care. Uh, Anyways, I am rambling a lot. And so basically, this is the ring finger. It is very similar to the other fingers, except it looks shorter. And sometimes the ring finger is like very slightly taller than the pointer. Sometimes it's equal. I don't know. It doesn't matter really. Just do what you like best. You don't even have to listen to me at all. That is perfectly fine. But yeah. And then there's your pinky finger, the short baby finger of the group. And sometimes what I'll do, whenever I am drawing, is I'll sort of do this thing where I'll have like the middle and ring finger sort of like it looks like it's fused together almost. Uh, it's kind of weird, but I kind of like it too because it makes it really easy, and it sometimes it doesn't look too weird. Hopefully you understood that really complicated. I don't think I made drawing hands much easier than before. Um, there are some art tutorials I would recommend you look at. Um, there are a lot of like just anatomy tutorials in general on Tumblr that I really enjoy looking at, and there is even this really funny one just sort of post on Tumblr that I saw about drawing circles. And basically, what you do is you make a circle, you make like a dot with your pen, and then you do. Hang on. And then you do this. And then you just clear out the circle as you please with an eraser. And then you make it bigger. And it's the sassiest, most helpful tutorial I have ever seen. It's pretty great. But I suggest looking at some Mary Doodles videos. I really like Mary Doodles, even though I don't watch her very much anymore. She's a pretty good YouTuber, and she has some really nice, both like traditional art, speed paints, and they're really beautiful, really. To be perfectly honest, but also she has some pretty good tutorials as well, such as like on watercolor and drawing people, sort of, I guess. And really, it's just kind of nice to listen to sometimes, whenever you're drawing. I also recommend. I know. Um, I think I think his channel name is Drawing with Jazza, but basically he has tons and tons of really nice tutorials um, on working with Copics and drawing humans and clothing and designing characters and all that good stuff. And it's really helpful. I really enjoy it. Um, but a definite moral of the story, in really any sort of case, in regards to drawing, is just practicing things over and over again. And there are dozens of artists who get really tired of hearing that. And I know sometimes I even still do when I'm trying to learn how to draw something, but it's honestly the most true thing I have ever heard. It's just a matter of like putting a lot of effort into it and researching and just, yeah. Art is not an easy job, to be perfectly honest. And I applaud the people who have made it into a job. And I would like to make it into a job myself one day. But art is not an easy skill to learn. You have to put a lot of effort into it, and some people don't even actually realize just how difficult art can be. But yeah, I'm gonna stop rambling because yeah, it's no problem, Theo. I like helping you guys. It's very fun. And I'm sorry you had to listen to me ramble, but I'm glad you learned about it. Oh, yay! I cannot wait to see your human characters. Ha ha ha. Just let me know if you need any more help with, like, just really anything, like, human, in regards to humans, and drawing, and all that good stuff. Yeah, just let me know if you need any help. Ah, yeah, still human. Doesn't matter. It's still human. Yeah, still human. Yeah, sure. I typically keep streams uploaded anyways, so yeah. It'll just upload on its own. But I'll make sure to keep it. I would be glad to keep it up. Someone's trying to freaking look at this light. That's a dumb idea. Go away, Instagram. But yeah, I will be sure to keep this up so you can look back on it. Alright, good night. No problem. I like streaming, it's fun. Yeah, I'm just gonna stop the broadcast. Have a good night, anyone who may be watching this, and you, Heyo, of course. Good night to this. Good night.